Howdy, howdy, it's the morning howdy, morning howdy.
Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of the Morning Howdy. And like every morning, howdy. So today's topic is going to be the coronavirus. And this is one of the most craziest things I've ever been alive to witness firsthand in the beginning stages. This is crazier than Ebola. This is crazier than anything I've ever learned about. Because I'm in the part of something that could be catastrophic. Okay? It isn't catastrophic, yes, but it is dang really, really bad at this moment. So there's a place in China that is completely sealed off. No transportation coming in, no transportation coming out, and they just got the last apparently 5 million people out. They were able to get that many people out. Everyone else is in complete lockdown. They're spraying chemicals everywhere to just try to contain what's going on. So let me give you a little bit of facts of what I know, and I'm gonna give some thoughts on the topic of what I think is gonna happen, and maybe some past things that I've probably learned about. So apparently there's over 1,000, I think it was like over 10,000 cases of this virus right now in the city. And it's going crazy. It's completely contagious. And it's just flying around. So generally this virus implements into the cell, and it uses a cell of the body to make more of that cell. And it pretty much shuts down and eats the glucose of the body, and it just causes respiratory failure. Just like any other virus. But this one is super, super contagious. It even gets into the eyes. You're wearing the mask, you're wearing everything, it doesn't matter. It'll get into your eyes. People are wearing goggles. People are in full hazard suits over there in this part of China. And it's killed a lot of people already. So when I saw this, when one of the first videos I saw of this, it was a nurse who was crying because she's working too many shifts. Each doctor has to look over 100 patients a day or during his shift, and each one is from the virus. Every hospital is completely shoulder to shoulder packed with people looking for treatment. There are so many people infected, and I saw videos. People are dropping in the streets as I speak. People are dropping dead, just randomly. There were people just recording, and there's just some dude falling in the streets, and people randomly laying down on the ground. It's killing people fast, generally fast. As when they get contaminated, they're dying generally fast. And there's not that many signs of when you have it. It's not like getting a cough or a fever. No, you just kind of go into respiratory failure. Yes, you're going to get sick. Yes, people are going to handle it differently. But it's not one of those things where it's going to work its course. It's kind of fast, and it's scary. It's scary fast. That's why they don't want it to spread, because it's spreading at such a high rate. They don't really know at what rate it's spreading. So what I generally have some knowledge here on my phone. And it says there's about 5 cases confirmed in the U.S. So I'm going to say there's at minimum at least 50 people contaminated in the United States, because they don't know how many people are contaminated. I don't know how many people. But if they're going to have 5 cases now of it, there's probably around 50. You know what I'm saying? Give it a times 10. Give it the toll the media doesn't want to let you know. They don't want people to go crazy about it. And the news is downplaying everything about it. They don't want people to know it's that bad. So they've interviewed people in there. They've interviewed people who aren't sick. There's people who teach there, and they're saying, well, I'm going to go to the grocery store, but I'm going to prepare for 3 weeks because I'm not going back out. They're going to prepare, and they're not getting out. So I've seen, like I told you, shoulder to shoulder in these nurses. So think about the doctors. Think about them always being around the sick people. Think about how scared they are, right? You're around all these sick people, and you're a doctor, and you know it's contagious. Like what? How are these doctors doing this? How can they take care of all these people? I heard about a couple cases of some doctors because they weren't wearing goggles. They got sick. They got the virus. They had everything right besides the goggles. And now doctors are in their hazmat suits the whole time working because they don't want to get sick. Think about when they have to use the bathroom, how scared they are. Think about the doctors when they want to eat something and knowing that everyone around you is sick. Like, imagine that stress. Imagine all the people crying. Imagine looking at all those people dying of the sickness that's just coming out of nowhere. It's not right. People are going insane about this because it's happening to them. No one's invincible until something crazy happens to them, you know? And they're in like this crazy rush, getting all the help from anyone who will help to build hospitals quicker because there's so many patients. They don't have enough. It's happening too quick. And since they're closed up the whole area, and I'm pretty sure they have special places for military to go in, and I guess food. They have special places for people to get in and for the things they need to get in. There's a blockade for a reason. It's to keep people out and not let people in. And you know, it's logically they're gonna have a way in. So at these blockades, you know, they're not letting anyone out, but they're putting the military people in. They're bringing in the medical fields. The people in the hazmat suits are coming in. They're trying to solve the issue. This is going on right now, and they're trying to work relatively quickly. Okay, and I just think it's one of the craziest things is because people are dropping in the streets. People are dropping around these nursing centers. And people are getting, and the disease is spreading at such a high rate from the first cases. And now we see cases. We see cases in Canada. We see cases in Europe. We have cases in Russia. You name it. There's cases everywhere of it. So it's in other places. And since we know it spreads that fast, and since we know there's cases in other places, what's going to happen? Are other places going to have to get segregated because it's going to get contaminated that fast? Is this going to be the next big plague? We don't know. So let me tell you how they're thinking where this comes from. And this is going to make you sick to your stomach. So they're thinking this virus is originated from the bats. And then the bats maybe got to the wildlife, and then, people in Asia and the parts of China eat the wildlife in the supermarkets, right? So they're saying that and not only that, they eat bats. The people there eat bats, and they carry a lot of diseases. And this is where the doctors are saying this is where this disease is originating from. The people who are eating the bats. So they probably got the virus right from the bat. Right when they opened that bat open, it probably was undercooked, right? That virus just spread probably from internally and coughed it up, got to the next person, they coughed it up. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that someone decided to eat a bat one day, and now there's hundreds of people dying. And there's a lot of more people getting infected, and they don't have this virus doesn't even have a cure. So think about all the people that are stressing to find the cure for this, knowing that all these people are, and you know they're not telling you the real number, because there's videos of nurses, people who know what's going on, who are crying about the government, crying about what the situation they're in. They're so mad at the government because they blocked them in. They're so mad because the government doesn't know what to do either. What can they do? You're just unfortunate. What can you do? If you get too much help, you get too many people in there, it's just going to spread, and everyone who gets contaminated is at a risk, right? You want to limit the risk. You want to solve the problem. And I don't know what's going to happen if it spreads to places where the medical isn't great, where people are less healthy. Say someone from India was there and went back, and somehow, some way, all of India got this virus or places in Africa, just because the medical isn't as enough. These places are more rural than urban, and there's a lot of people. There's more people in these places tighter together than there are in places in America. Yeah, we have the major cities, But in these places, in major cities, it's just less developed. So there's a greater chance of a higher cause of something bad to happen. Um, it's so crazy. You know, people are reverencing the Resident Evil and stuff like that. It's not making people into zombies. It's just killing people. It's shunning. It's and there's no cure. There's no cure. I haven't heard anything about a cure, anything that's gonna help with this. You know, I can't even describe the videos I've seen because these doctors, they're surrounded. They can't even walk place to place. There's so many patients. They're screaming at the doctors, crying for help, and they can't help. They can only do what they can. And guess what? Let me get to the part of the blockade. It's harder since there's a blockade for all the medical people to get all their supplies. How are all these doctors gonna get all these supplies? Right now they're making millions and millions of face masks. They're making all these gear for all the people to have, to give them a chance, and they're working constantly. You know, there's cases in the U.S. right now. I don't know if they died. I'm not sure yet. You know, if there's not a cure, there must be a way to like tame it, just like how they knew how to tame like cancer and stuff. You know, it spreads. It spreads easily. It spreads through coughing, through sneezing, through touch, and like, so all of China right now, are cleaning everything. There's literally and all the people are going around when they have to walk somewhere. They're just cleaning. I saw this. This is really cool. I don't know what part. Wait, I think it was like a subway or airport or something. And they had all these people with wet wipes just wiping everything they could touch. They wiped it just to make sure that they can keep everything clean and contaminated. They're taking that big of steps where they're wiping down every spot, everything where they can wipe in these places like indoors generally. Because you can't really wipe down outside. And generally, all these places inside, they're just wiping down, and they're trying to do whatever they can to solve this issue. And what I think is crazy is they're spraying all this stuff in the air to hopefully get rid of this virus. What is that going to do to the people? What is that the thing? I know that it's not supposed to be harmful for the people if they're spraying in the air. But if they're going to put so much of that in the air, you know what scares me? Is whenever I see that little mosquito machine going through my neighborhood so all the mosquitoes get killed, that thing comes by all the time, just putting that stuff in the air. And it kills mosquitoes. And I'm inhaling, I'm not dying, but it's in the air now. You know what I'm saying? And I have to breathe that. And it doesn't affect me? Nah, I don't believe that. I don't believe it doesn't affect me. I feel like it affects me in some type of way. And there's nothing I can do because it's regulated. It's just like driving a car and putting carbon monoxide in the air. We don't even think about the air we're in. We always just take a shit, you know, and we don't care. We don't care what happens after that. No, we do. We always, you know, clean up after ourselves. We don't always think about that when it comes to the oxygen we breathe. So we're always putting carbon dioxide in the air. That is not good for us. It's not good for anybody, having all that carbon. It's not good when we spray all these chemicals for the mosquitoes and they're all around us, spraying in our neighborhoods. Our ACs collecting it at night whenever we're trying to sleep, and then we breathe it in and wondering why we're having crazy nightmares, you know? Or they talk about chemtrails in the air. They're spraying the chemicals in the air for the weather, and like that's been a thing now. Like I'm not sure. I don't know all about the chemtrails. I'm not gonna get into the topic, but people have been putting stuff in the air for a long time, and now they're putting this stuff in the air that's supposed to kill a virus, right? That's crazy. That's completely crazy. I couldn't imagine if that happened here in Houston, right here in the middle of Houston, and then you have to get anywhere. You have to drive. There's no like a path, a walkway of land where you can just travel on. Everything's the road. Or you're gonna be walking over houses. You're gonna have to, or there's no forest that we can just travel through. It's all roads. So if we're in Houston, and all of Houston gets blocked off, all around the Beltway, how are people gonna get in? There's gonna only be one road to get into there, and it's gonna be like the 45 or something, or the I-10. and that's only roads, and everywhere else, and then you can't get into any roads closer into the city. It's gonna be blocked off, and you're gonna think, oh, there's not a lot of supermarkets in the city. Yeah, because people don't go to in the city to buy food. There's like places in the suburbs. That's generally where the most supermarket is. You're gonna see a bigger majority of these places, and then in the city is the most people. So you think about how there's less of something and there's more of the city, more of construction, more companies. There's not resources there. That's all in the suburbs. That's all on the outside, and you're stuck in the city. It's scary because you're stuck there with a lot of people who are gonna get hungry really quick. I got an alarm set. I'm up way too early. I've been trying to do research. The research is slim. They're not really telling us how big it is, and I believe it's more than 10,000. And it was in a city of 11 million people. 11 million people. Think about that. And this is in China, right? 11 million people, and this virus goes crazy, and they have to block off the city. The outbreak. Let's see. No, let me tell you another thought. I saw places where people are putting to these boxes, a vacuum sealed box, something you would see in a movie, Ziploc sealed, so they can't get out. These people are sick, and they're taking them and they're putting into a transport, the box, into like a transfer vehicle. You know how many people are getting put into these boxes? They're just picking people off the street. And well, they've pretty much got that taken care of by now. All the people off the streets, and everyone's indoors. And everyone's already at the hospitals crying to get help. Everyone who's not sick is just staying indoors hoping for the best. So what's going to happen next in this situation? Is it going to get contained? Are all these people going to die? Are they going to find a cure? How long is the city going to be blockaded? There's a lot of questions. What are they not telling us about this? How serious it already is? And what places is it already happening to as we speak? So let's think about this. Say it happened. So it happened during the Chinese New Year, right? Chinese New Year. Think about all the people that were probably traveling in and outside during Chinese New Year. People coming in, people going out to see someone. It's a lot of people. 11 million people in the city. So you think about how it's going to spread, how they're going to try to contain that spread. If anyone came from there, what preparations are the people taking for the people who had left from there? I would be getting checked up if I came back from that city and I knew that was going on. I'd get checked up right away. So I'm guessing that's what those people are doing if they knew they were from there, And there's people who did go and like, look, I just came back from there, check me, and they're like, yep, you're positive for it. And you think about that and you're like, I wasn't even in these certain places. I wasn't even in the city. And you think about, dang, it's that bad? It's spreading that bad? You think about the Black Plague in England. It killed like 1/3 of the population, or 2/3. Let's say like 1/3. And and there was no way to spread the message that was this happening. There was no medicine to contain it. You just kind of hope for the best, right? We're hoping it doesn't get to that point. But at this rate, if they didn't block up the city, if everything just kept going as it was, think about how bad it would be right at this second. Think about how many people would be sick right now if they didn't do anything about it, or it still wasn't even notified at this point. There'd be a really big problem going on right now. But, people are smart. People can send things off the phones. People can show videos of people falling and say, look, there's a problem going on right now. And it's serious. Just people dropping in the streets. Just dying. What would you think? You would think there's something about God. Some people pray to God. Some people would be like, someone's trying to kill us. Someone put a virus in something. No, it's something that's happened before. Throughout time, a lot of famine, okay, a lot of diseases, and this is one, and we're doing what we can about it, and we can only be lucky that in this day of age we can prepare for something like this. And yeah, people are gonna die, people are gonna get sick, our loved ones, but we have to worry about the whole. We have to worry about this not killing everybody, and I'm not saying for everyone to be scared. But we should all be preparing. We should all be washing our hands. We should, not saying everyone should just stay in, but make sure we keep ourselves clean. Make sure we're not doing anything that might. Don't be eating no bats. Don't do. And someone clipped that. Don't be eating bats. Like, try to stay healthy. Don't do things that could hurt everybody. You know. I just think it's crazy. Because the thing about a virus, there's nothing we can do about it. It's not an animal we can kill. There's not someone approach us. It's a silent killer. It's just in the air, and we have to breathe. And that's just how it is, I guess. But then there's some question: is this a genetically engineered virus? You know, we don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think someone built this virus just to kill everyone. And why would it happen there in China? If some crazy Chinese person was just like, screw the Chinese government, and then just made this thing and was just like, ha 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 ha, and the virus just kind of did its thing. It's just like some invisible demon that's just getting everyone. Like, I don't want to scare people. That sounds scary, that someone would do something like that. But like, you know, if we know we can do something like that, that's actually possible. Then we should make it to where if someone tried hurting us, we'll be prepared for that. It's just like Superman having kryptonite. The most powerful person has to have a weakness, and you know, the weakness to us is something we can't fix, something we can't cure, something we can't stop. But we have to try to stop. We have to try to stop it. We can do the preparations to keep ourselves from getting sick and spreading the disease. So people going to gyms, you know, people coming back from China, if this is where you're coming from, or people around China, or people in America that know people in China. Let them know that this is going on. This should be public. This is like anything that's causing a problem, that could cause a problem, should be known about. You know, if there's a bad unjust tyranny, it should be known about. And if there is a meteor coming to the world, we should know about it. And, you know, there's a virus going around killing people, and it's here in the United States now. It's in Canada, places where people come back from Asia on boats, shipping containers. So think about a rat that maybe got into a shipping container right now, and it's just like in Los Angeles somewhere, and we had no idea, and it's just spreading, and it's just like I couldn't imagine. There's literally something that can happen. It's just like a group of fire ants going on a boat, somehow landing on the beach in Florida or somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's just spreading, and now there's fire ants all in the south part of the United States just because some person decided to bring one or two fire ants aboard. It's just like that. It's just a virus. So what if it already is in the air? Since let me give you the, you know how there's cold fronts, and you know that, and then they come from the Arctic, and they kind of just come down and lay over during the winter time over the land, and you get the snow, and you know the cold fronts leave, but then they always come back. There's air and wind. So what if the wind and the air has already taken this virus? I'm not kidding you. What if it already taken this virus and the wind had carried it? Not that they're saying there's any there. Not saying. I'm just saying. What if the virus is just in the air, carrying along, or on a bird, and it's just going its migrating path? Next step, you know. And as the wind takes what it takes, it could travel anywhere on Earth. Well, where is the next place is that virus is going to travel to, you know? We don't know. But we know about it. We know about the coronavirus. We know about what it can do. And generally we know how we can prepare for something like this. I think it's crazy that all these things are going on right now. You know, all these crazy fires and now diseases. Fires, diseases, and like not too long ago, crazy storms like hurricanes, tsunamis, earthquakes. Earthquakes just happened. There's been some earthquakes in the Middle East. I read upon it. I saw the video. People are dying. People are dying right now from causes that we can't stop. We can't stop earthquakes. We can't stop the famine. We can't prevent it from happening. Once it happens, we can stop it. An earthquake we can't stop. A famine, generally speaking, we can try to stop. But there's a lot of things we're not in control of, and that's really killing us. It's really, it's putting us on a hole. It's putting us in concern. I'm looking on my map to see if I can see it. I think it was like Zemin or something. I don't remember. You know, there was all these cases about Ebola, that there was going to be some serious thing. It's always the next thing, and it kind of seems like it's not just that next thing. They said it was a level 1 threat in China right now. Whatever that means. I haven't looked up the exact definition of a level 1 threat when it comes to like some chemical virus. But that's what they said. I don't know if it's going up or if it's going down, but it's a high enough level to where they blocked off the city. What would y'all think if your city was blocked off? How scared would you be? What would you do to try to get out of that city? What if you're already infected? Scary stuff. Scary stuff. And like the food, are you scared to eat the food? Is it on the food? It's really scary stuff. You'd be scared to eat, scared to go outside. Let me see. I can't really speak more about the virus. I know the name of it. I know generally where it came from. I know it spreads quickly. It generally does with the respiratory. It kind of just kills you from the inside, obviously. It was from the respiratory shutdown. So I don't know if it's like people just stop breathing. I guess they kind of just, the body just shuts down from the inside. It's just like, it explains why they just kind of drop in the streets. Their heart stops, or their lungs just stop breathing, or the blood flow, the brain shuts down. If something in the body shuts down, the whole body shuts down. Everything needs to work. And we should all, if this is a serious issue, and if we all know about it, and we're all worried about it, and we're all preparing for it, we can take this today as a life experience of where we can go in life. If we're in the medical field, what is something we should worry about? Chemicals, chemical engineering. We can learn about how something that comes from and how we can prepare for it, or prepare for the next disease, come up with cures for diseases that already exist. Find out even better ways to prevent diseases from happening. People in the medical field now, that are like doctors, how are they responding to this? Are they like trying to figure out a way? Are they doing their research right now? Are they trying to come up with solutions? Because generally, the world is generally speaking about this, like the embassies, people in the medical field that are like high up, on the board. They're all talking about this, and because it's affecting a lot of people, and I agree that things like this should be discussed on the high level, because on the high level they know what they have, they know what they can do, and I would assume they are working on it as we speak. Yeah, so the virus goes into the cell, and from there it uses that cell to make more of the virus, and it's just a continuous process. So how do you stop something like that? Antibiotics, a certain type of antibiotic. Yeah, but that's generally about it. That's generally about what's going on with the corona. It's happening in China. China is one of the most highly populated countries in the world, and it's in a very highly populated city, and it's causing a lot of things to slow down. You know, there is a very big industry in China that it's like United States. China's just, it makes, they have a lot of companies that make a lot of things, that grow a lot of food and produce a lot of, let's just say, mechanical equipment or industry wise things. A lot of places are put on hold. A lot of places aren't getting what the city was providing them. And everyone works together. And all the parts of the country work together. So if, say, New York was to shut down, that would cause a big issue here. If Houston was to shut down, that would be a big issue because of the ports. This is generally like more of a city than a port city. If that makes any sense? So it's gonna cause like a lot of industrial shutdown. A lot of people there. When there's a lot of people, people do a lot of things, and even a lot of people that are stuck there, Americans, people from other countries, they're stuck. They all want to get out. But yeah, man, people do your knowledge. People that are listening, just try to keep up with what's going on. Do the preparations that you say to do, and just try to stay clean, guys. Don't be eating no bats. I appreciate you listening this far. I appreciate for y'all listening about my concern. And yeah, that's about it for this one. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe if you like the video. And until next time, guys. Howdy.